Good afternoon, everyone, and we welcome you back to maybe, possibly, the last game of the Grand Finals of the Lenovo LCL 2017 Summer Split. We'll be your casters. I am Vulcan, and joining with me is my co-caster, Arctic, coming in from that explosive Game 2, a completely different game from actually Game 1, where we saw macro play. Game 2, more clash-oriented, but now Game 3, TUP's last chance to step up if they wish to still have a fighting chance for the Grand Final spot.
Man, I gotta hand it to UPD because I was thinking that TUP might have some kind of I mean, like, all teams have their own respective strengths. It's just that in this particular matchup, especially having watched both Game 1 and Game 2, parang almost every single aspect of the games, UPD seems to outclass TUP, whether it be mechanics, whether it be macro play, even the skirmishes like the micros wherein we think that TUP would win the clashes. Even UPD, they really showed that they could even go up to par, if anything, even perform even better than TUP. So going into Game 3, there's definitely a lot on the line for TUP. They really have to step up their game and pull off all the strength that they can into this single match right here and keep their fingers crossed for a reverse sweep. But of course, yeah, into the pick and ban phase we go. Fiora, Rakan, and Zac gonna be banned out from UPD Liman. So really, there's a lot of diversity there. But of course, with much respect to the champ pools of each respective player on UPD as to what strengths, as to how powerful they are on playing these champions. And Lulu, Vladimir, and Blitzcrank. So a little bit more leaning towards Misa N. We have been talking about how Misa N's champ pool has a certain level of limit. Although, what kind of saves that is the fact that when it comes to the skill shot-oriented support, he performs above and beyond.
And looking at the banning phase, as supports game go-wise, it's more kind of like a bonus in a way that you have your ADC, right? It's like that combo meal you get in a fast food chain. Like, you get fries, but you don't just eat the fries, you get a burger. Sometimes the fries are better than the burger. So in this case for UPD, right now Blizzard is not anymore this French fry. He's now an onion ring. Better, tastier. And now Neep is just going to be kinda at the backside, stepping down while giving Blizzard that spotlight. Whereas for TUP, I gotta say for Navi, he did have some moments where he shined, but it's the fact that when it comes to the extended team fights, as you said, they tend to fall off. They don't have enough sustainability in a team fight.
Yeah, and that being said, good comparison though, by the way. Kind of made me hungry. But yeah, I mean, one thing I'd actually like to give particular emphasis to is the fact that I actually noticed, looking at the bans from TUP, they didn't ban out the Elise from Veer, and that being said, medyo halata na pala yung reason. It's because they wanted to take the Elise for themselves, since they are on the blue side, so they very well much do have the opportunity. So of course, looks like UPD will be sticking to what they know, and of course, why fix that? Something that isn't broken. Blizzard will once again be on the skate. I mean, he performed really well in Game 2. Like, we can't really discount him anymore because he had the best KD in that game. Clearly, stepping up there. Yeah, definitely. But it's a collaborative effort, I'd say, between UPD, and that's what makes them such a great team. The teamwork, and I just love how smart they've been playing out their entire season in the LCL. So yeah, I
like how TUP is drafting so far. More familiar champs we see this time compared to Game 2. But for the banning wise, was it okay to just take away the, let's say, Elise from Veer? This opens up for Kazakhs, and we haven't seen much of Veer's Kazakhs in a while. Normally it would be banned in some games, but this time it's open. So this is actually TUP's last chance if they wish to come out on top against UPD in this Grand Finals and to represent the Philippines in the incoming LICC.
And what an honor that would be to represent our country. And whoa, actually Neep gonna be playing this Bard here. Another one of those champions which requires not only great mechanical skill, but you also have
Rome he was talking about during the interview.
Exactly. He's all about these roams here, and considering the kit that Bard has, it'll only emphasize that strength that he has all the more.
So this is going to be most probably, I gotta say, TUP's last draft if they do not perform properly. And as for UPD, this is actually a game they're entering more relaxed because they still have extra lives left. But still, this is something that they have to at least secure in.
Yeah, I mean,
They are still in the danger of being in a reverse sweep coming in for TUP. This is a team from 48 campuses now down to 2. This is someone you should not underestimate. Go out full force.
exactly. You know, whatever matchup you go into, you never want to kind of slack around or
Have a match where
go all out. Just
Go
always
all
go
out.
all out.
All
Treat
out.
every game as though it's your
the
last
game.
one.
And for
Exactly.
TUP, this is their very last one for maybe their last one in the spring term of the LCL. And I hope for TUP they are prepared. I like their draft so far. For UPD2, outstanding draft, but this time we're going to be seeing Iconic on a tank top. Normally we don't see actually a tank top, not the tank top clothes, but tank top as in Shen. So normally we did see Sejuani once, played by Iconic, did not really work out properly because why put Iconic on a tank role when he is going to be skating so well in a fighter role instead? But for Berserk, so a mid laner such as Berserk on an Orianna is something I can't wait to see.
Yeah, and we'll just have to see that later on. As we go into this video, we did hear from the players earlier. Let's go ahead and check out what the coach of UPD Diliman has to say.
I guess there's a bit of a grudge match with TUP, but really, facing anybody in the finals, it's fine. I'm confident we can just look at it cleanly because from my perspective right now, we're not really looking towards just the finals of the LCL. We're looking towards Malaysia. We're looking towards China. That's what we want to go for.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, as we head into Game 3 for the Grand Finals of the Lenovo LOL Collegiate League 2017 Spring Term. Of course, this is going to be between Technological University of the Philippines against UP Diliman. Of course, UP Diliman at a great sitting at a 2-0 right now. Whether or not UP can go for the reverse sweep or whether or not this will be a clean 3-0, we'll just have to see as we see what transpires on Summer's Rift.
This is UPD entering the LCL with high goals, something that they want to achieve. And this is showing right now, entering the Grand Finals, a team who have only lost so far, only one game, the whole LCL spring term, against TUP, who had some fumbles and troubles around the group stages, but this time, finally making it into the Grand Finals. Let's see what they have to offer in their probably their last game.
So yeah, I mean, again, looking at the composition here, looks like TUP, I was kind of hoping that they'd lean towards a composition which has a bit more utility, but looks like there is going to be a lot of damage across the board for TUP. I do like that they do have this Nami pickup. Sure, it doesn't really grant Mise-En that opportunity to demonstrate how skilled he is on those skill shots, but he does have that bubble at least. But that being said, at least they have a little bit, yeah, basically the utility is there for the Nami. They have the heal, and it actually makes for a great setup as well, as opposed to John earlier, who was kind of starting most of the fights during Game 2 with that Cataclysm. So let's just see how that works out for TP at the end of the day.
Navi does not expect it though. Neat gets stunned in the wall. This will be a harassment onto Navi. Already half down health. This is going to give him that constant fear in the laning.
Definitely going to deter him a little bit, and it'll actually force Navi and Mise-En to play it a little bit more safer in the first few minutes, but luckily that is a Nami, so Mise-En could easily heal up whatever damage Navi took within that first minute.
So we'll be seeing actually a sustainable bot lane this time for TUP. Whereas UPD, they also have this sustain for Neat. He does have the freedom to roam around and leave Blizzard alone. He can just leave those heal pads alone, just set it there and just roam to the mid lane, possibly scouting out the enemy jungler and ward those deep visions is required for UPD if they wish to always have really good macro.
And yeah, I mean, so far, whatever harassed that Navi, the damage that he took with it early, it's actually manifesting right now clearly in the group score. Blizzard actually a wave up in comparison to Navi, almost a wave up. But that being said, like I mentioned, Mise-En now hitting level 2, so Navi actually just healing up all the damage. Ooh, actually uses the actually used that heal,
The ebb and
potential
flow.
heal. Yeah, the ebb and flow, and didn't quite connect onto Navi. Navi wasn't within the range to get that connection, so that it would bounce off. So it's those small things that TUP has to put into consideration. Again, I've been mentioning how there have been mishaps of positioning during Game 2 for TUP, so hopefully this is something that they're much more conscious of playing in Game 3.
And going into Game 3, this time Blizzard will be in the spotlight. So will Veer be the one to help him have this fast start? No visions placed for TUP's side. Veer is patiently waiting in the brush.
Yeah.
Maybe waiting for Navi to overstep. Neat though, setting up for a stun, does not connect. He does pursuit away from Veer's sleep.
Good try though from UPD. Again, this is the practices that I really like here, whether it be ganking lanes and the overall rotation. So this is one of the reasons why I definitely feel Veer has played his best split yet.
Oh,
no, the
I
stun.
think Navi's in love with those walls. He does flash away from Blizzard. Ignite is onto Blizzard, but Veer is coming in. Chan is also there, stunning with the cocoon. Now it's going to be the finisher move. Flash was burned by Knee. Now Veer is very low. Chan is still looking for time to go in. Flash in by Misa and does not connect. That will be a first spot onto Chan, while Blizzard will just be backing away with the help. But I don't think that's done yet. Misa and helps Knee channel
man.
that stun.
Not a bad start at all for TUP. And that being said, again, I couldn't necessarily say that TP's off to a great start because there is still that question that even though they have these small victories early game, it doesn't necessarily translate to realizing the bigger picture of spearheading them ahead in comparison to UP dealing mine. So, like I mentioned, if they really want to capitalize on winning heavily in lane, they really have to get those stats going on within the first 10 minutes, because otherwise, once again, transitioning into the mid game, it'll all be a matter of going equal with UPD, and then UPD just kind of choking them out, whether it be in terms of objectives or even the skirmishes, which they're able to win because of performing more to the T.
So TUP tends to choke around these objectives, Arctic. What is their remedy for this type of... I wouldn't say it's... we always see it, so it's more of an illness that TUP has. What can treat it?
Again, this is the tricky part here because, like I mentioned, I champion UP Diliman as the best team. If anything, nobody comes equal to them in terms of the macro play in the LCL. So that being said, that's something that you could only learn with experience, practice, and one thing that a lot of teams lack is having a proper coach and in a way the level of analysis that UPD has. Because what's interesting here about UPD is not only are they mechanically gifted, but if you're gonna look at people like Iconic, like Neep even, sila yung mga, they're the type of players that are really smart when it comes to just League of Legends in general, which is why UPD is such a strong team. It's basically the best of both worlds for them, wherein they excel in mechanics and they also excel in terms of knowledge of the game.
So in short, it's the dedication that UPD brought to this spring term. Their goal was, as said in the video, to go to Malaysia and China, and it is showing right now in the grand finals. But for TUP's side, I don't think we heard distinct words yet, but here it comes. Here for a gank into the mid lane. Bam is kind of low on mana, just backs away.
Yeah, I was trying to insert a little bit more damage onto Berserk there while he can, but then again, he is very low on mana, so this will actually force the recall from him.
As for TUP's side, I think we have not heard these distinct words coming in from any of the members. Whereas UPD, they have set their goals high and they want to achieve it. But for TUP's side, I think they still lack some resolve going into this grand finals. This will be their last chance to step up. And I think for that first blood, this should be a wake-up call for TUP.
I think it's not necessarily the lack of resolve coming from TUP, because what's really interesting about the LCL is that there's, unlike if you're working with a PGS team wherein the players are technically being paid to commit, like to live as though LoL is life, wherein in comparison to collegiate, it's a little bit more trickier because they're balancing both playing the game and school at the same time. And what I really like about UPD kasi is that they were able to balance it in the sense na those moments wherein they are able to practice, they are able to go for these straight scrims, even with professional teams. So talagang that's really good practice for them. So
Practice and dedication is what you need if you wish to succeed in the grand finals.
Yes.
And from that bot lane, I think Navi was smart enough to use the calling to do the wave clear. Deny those CS under the turret for Blizzard, but we're seeing that Veer trying his best to pressure top and mid. But we did see kanina that Acidia was just playing around over the wall, just baiting out Veer, wasting his time there.
Man. And looking at, what's interesting here is that I'd actually like to point out the gold. So it's actually kind of leaning towards TUP. We could actually attribute it to the fact that, again, the kills that they got early on, that first blood, and even the CS for Navi, because he did get that upper hand of that staying power in comparison to Blizzard as a result of the casualty, and then at the same time, Acidia as well performing much exponentially better than Iconic. But then again, this is a Shen, so it's almost a given. So, if anything, mas magiging prominent sa Iconic later on during the mid-late game once he does, well, he does have his ult actually, so
he offers more in the team fight, whereas Acidia on a Renekton is on, again, a ticking time.
Yeah,
where
yeah, the ticking time, tapos at the same time, given the composition that TUP has, sure, they do have the Nami, but if you're gonna look at the overall utility that UPD brings to this composition, it's definitely there. It's much more balanced kung ikukumpara mo sa TUP na there's a lot of damage, sure. So,
Chan gets spotted by Rift Scuttler. There will be the tidal wave for attempt to disengage, but a tempered fate will lock onto two members of TUP. UPD looking for a collapse, does miss the shock with Iconic, goes in for a flash taunt. Connects while Veer secures the kill.
Oh man, Sean, if anything, sure he did manage to save himself, but as a result, actually caused Misa N to go down instead. So, medyo that was a little bit of a domino effect right there. So, but UPD will be able to get this Infernal Rage virtually uncontested.
A very easy objective for UPD on their composition will scale really well. As for Acidia, he did not have his teleport, so could not respawn. This is the advantage of having a Shen, but also at the same time a disadvantage where Acidia is left open to push the top lane.
Yeah, and Iconic, because he has his teleport down, he doesn't have that way of going right back to lane. That being said, Acidia is pushing hard, and not to mention since he has a Tiamat, makes it all the more faster for him.
Oh, Navi. Better watch where you're going, taking a lot of punishment from Blizzard, and now he's going all in from the enchanted attacks, but Blizzard picks up the s'mores.
S'mores. Man, the food references. But yeah, Rift Herald though actually gonna be pushed by TUP here, and with actually much efficiency because Acidia has that wave heavily pushed up top, and Iconic only just responding to kind of counterbalance it. So they will be giving it to Acidia though. So hopefully that Rift Herald would be used to max efficiency wherein TUP could get a spear ahead of them.
This is actually bad news for Iconic in a way, but in the bot lane, Navi gets stunned yet again. Mr. N is there for the cover, but I was saying for the top lane, Acidia has the Rift Herald, right? And Renekton loves to split push. And Acidia is the type of champion of a player who likes to split push, pressuring the lanes. Kind of reminds me of JLC in a sense. So this kind of makes Iconic's job harder. When he does make the teleport play or the stun United, he leaves his top lane at risk for being pushed by the Rift Herald. And if the Rift Herald was used effectively, can possibly destroy the inhibitor turret.
Yeah, and plus the fact that it's actually a great point because if you're gonna look at this, giving Rift Herald to Acidia is somewhat of a good counterbalance in my opinion to Iconic having that Stun United as part of the kit, because Stun United grants Iconic that faster response into clash, not plus the utility of protecting your teammate, be granting that shield. Pero because of Acidia having that Rift Herald, those few minutes, not only does he have that pressure potential, but at the same time, that empowered recall actually allows him to get back to base faster, regen, and respond to lanes if ever TUP thinks ahead as to what strategy they want to go for on the map.
Interesting to see Chan making his approach onto Veer, spots him out, gets the combo onto him. Acidia also follows it up with a flash stun. That is just beautiful. And now TUP has summoned the Rift Herald. UPD must defend this.
man. I'm not sure I like the efficiency of that referral right there because the damage output, ang baba na kasi ng turret ng outer mid eh.
It was not used effectively, and the fact that he was facing behind the members of UPD, that's actually an easy shot to its eye.
Exactly, and I don't know, man. We were talking about how Acedia had that advantage of having that empowered recall, so he just removed it. So again,
I think it was a matter of being impatient.
Impatient.
If Acedia took the still had the Rift Herald, he has hostage over Iconic's top lane. But right now, there's the teleport play coming in. Does get cancelled. Wants to refund that cooldown with Berserk picking up an easy kill.
Teleport actually used by Iconic, although he wasn't even needed in that fight though, but is a good extra precaution, you know. Again, one step ahead. Great for UPD to think one step ahead. But
this is the scenario where Acedia should have been in top lane, spawn the Rift Herald, make the members of UPD scramble just a bit, but this is not going to work out because it's already done. This is something that UP made a mistake, and I think that small mistake is going to cost them a lot.
Yeah, again, like you mentioned, patience is key. Tapos, at the same time, I feel that in TUP's case, they feel so pressured to really get things going early on. So I feel like it's that type of mindset that preempted releasing Rift Herald so early that they weren't able to take into account the efficiency to its use.
So close, Charm did not connect, and the efficiency is there, Arctic, but I gotta say for TUP, they really missed that golden chance.
Exactly.
Sobrang sayang yung Rift Herald dun sa mid lane. If they had just saved it just a bit, this scenario in the bottom lane would have been completely different.
Exactly, and look at Acedia right now. He's actually
He's just
pressuring other lanes, and if you have that Rift Herald, like I mentioned, Rift Herald empowered recall, it's such a huge missed opportunity. But will we see?
Taking no one for a ride. Bam does bait out the flash from Neep. Instead of a charm, it was the orb. Now in the mid lane, Acedia and Iconic just having a small date, but in the bottom lane it will be a group day with 4 members of each team trying to push out this outer bot lane turret with a teleport advantage for TUP, whereas Iconic's teleport halfway down, pretty close in, but he does have to stand united.
Oh yeah. So again, there's so many things that TUP has to account for. Oh, man. I can't get over that Rift Herald because there were so many possibilities with that. Like I mentioned, the pressure, the splits
would have been so advantageous on a champion and a player such as Acedia, but we gotta expect that TUP has something up their sleeve because the Infernal Drake will now be live in 21 seconds. UPD already making the precautions of warding and denying vision from TUP.
So, nonetheless, regardless of that small fumble with the Rift Herald, the goal difference, 3,000 for TUP. So still, there is they actually still have space to work with. But then again, like I did mention, in order to conquer UPD, I feel like it has to be exponentially huge.
Okay. Let's hope they conquer it in the Dragon.
And we might actually see a Dragon fight break off.
See, Navi on the side was Chan in the front. Bandit there for the Vision Cage. There goes into the lead. The Dragon will be delayed by the Fate, but it'll be UPD getting the smite advantage. Acedia backs away, very low on health. Now it'll be a tidal wave, 40 engaged. Navi's on illusion, he gets a double kill. Chan's just taking a hit. Blizzard has no mana. Flash in Cocoon does not connect, but it will be Navi picking it up. Now Berserk is very low. There is the ball, but no shockwave available just yet. Iconic goes there for the taunt in onto Navi. Does not work out really well. It's going to be a double for Chan and possibly an ace for TUP. There's the taunt in onto Chan, very low on health. Iconic gives that sweet triple.
Oh man, Chan actually
Navi was
quite
pretty
beneficial for him. And finally an ace for TUP. And I would actually like to check out that replay later on because actually there was a very crucial mishap for UPD right here. So, and there it is actually. The Tempered Fate for me, it caused problems because the follow-up, the Stand United was already coming in from Iconic, but because the Tempered Fate actually timed with Iconic getting into that fight, he wasn't able to utilize that full taunt. So that being said, that was actually a huge missed opportunity for UPD, and it allowed TUP to just turn the tides exponentially huge. And again, it's a great footing for TUP to potentially get their first win, maybe, just maybe.
Did you see how Chan ate up that with the execution damage, that was just huge. And I think that's a really good cleanup tool.
That was actually a really great setup for UPD Liman. But because of that tempered fate, the follow through with the taunt, because Iconic could have gotten a lot of people with that taunt. So, man.
In a way, I'm gonna give you another foot reference here, Arctic. It's like this
man.
in the bottom lane. But hold that thought, Navi did not see Iconic stun. Tidal is coming in. A stun does connect onto Knee from the cocoon. Can is now dominating. Iconic is very low, hugging that turret. Here comes Veer over the wall. Goes onto Chan. Is very low. The red buff slow is in play. Navi though on the side. This is members of UPT sandwich, but Navi is isolated. Is an easy pickup for, let's say, giving it to Iconic so that he can catch up.
Oh man. Even though TUP has been performing, there's so many ways this could have been so much better for them. I'm not going to go on about the retirals, don't worry. But another thing that I've actually found problematic is that if you're going to look at the tidal wave coming in from Lisa N, there was actually a lot of misses. So,
it was not used effectively, but it did tunnel the movements of UPT for Chan to land that cocoon stun. But in the end, what matters is how it turns out after the clash.
True.
How it started has no bearing on how it ended. Because sometimes we see teams who start a clash, they lose.
So there we go. Regardless, 6,000 gold lead. This is definitely something that UPD has to kind of start wearing on. Because if TUP could keep up this proper momentum and kind of capitalize on some of the few miscommunications that UPD might have had as far as top lane being controlled properly, then they might actually have a good game. But then again, for me, some of the mistakes that UPD has been making are somewhat minor. But going in onto later clashes, I feel like they have all the potential to correct them. So, that being said, TUP really wants to take advantage of this lead that they have right now. Because if they don't make something huge out of this, then it'll only grant UPD that space to get back into this game so easily. And we have seen that happen during the previous games.
And that space is being invaded by TUP in their own jungle. Right now we're seeing Acidia pushing out the lanes, pressuring the members of UPD. The Baron is live, same as the Cloud Jig will be up soon in 1 minute and 33 seconds. So I can expect that UPD will be stalling until then. But for TUP, they have to try and close this game as early as they can.
Yes.
Otherwise, that Orianna on Berserk is going to be a huge obstacle also for Blizzard.
Yeah, later on, even though Chan is having a ball on this release right now, 100% kill participation actually. So Chan clearly flexing some muscles for TUP. But like you mentioned, if they allow this to prolong a little bit more longer, the utility for UPD will
Oh
prevail.
my god, that's such a nice stabber effect coming from UPD. There is the collapse. There is the punishment on the TUP for invading their own space. Now with 3 members down, this opens up for the Baron. One small mistake for TUP is UPD saving grace, but I don't think Bam is gonna let that happen. Neep is very low, gets ignited, and gets taken down. There's a flash in by Veer. Bam is very low. Stan United is onto him for the protection, and there is the blast on play. Slowed, but not enough damage.
Whoa. That was interesting actually, because if ever Iconic was able to properly get into position of that blasting cone wherein he would have actually propelled himself along with Veer, I feel like he might have actually been able to follow that up, chase them off, taunt into bomb. So that could have potentially been a kill, but still doesn't really deter UPD from the bigger picture that this allows them to get back into the game slowly.
This is bad news for TUP. They have this wanderlust where they will always try and move around the map unwarded. That is the prize.
And let's go ahead and check this out here. I really like how UPD really one step against TUP here. They see the opportunity of outnumbering members of TUP at this point because there are only 3 of them. And this actually shuts Chan down a bit.
Oh, flashes from Navi, gets taken out by Berserk. Blizzard is very low, no mana, no movement, and there's the call from Iconic for the protection. Blizzard's left with free hit, regaining some health. Here comes Veer with the Kha'Zix, will not do much. Iconic soaks up so much damage. It would be Bam getting the shutdown bounty, making a double. Now Veer is going to be backing away, but still gets charmed. Very low, might be a triple, but the Maw will save his life.
Oh man, Veer, the only surviving member of UPD Liman and TUP. Definitely, I could only imagine how they're feeling right now. If anything, a renewed resolve that maybe they could actually go for the reverse sweep. But then again, it's still too early to tell. But so far, so good for Technological University of the Philippines.
The Death Timers will be enough. UPD will be able to defend the TUP, but I don't think the inhibitor will survive.
Oh, wow. So yeah, 13 and 8 right now. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out that fight right here because a lot happened. So, me actually walking in. So, actually, I really like that Iconic got the two-man taunt. It's just that I feel like the follow-up wasn't as solid because of the fact that Berserk was already down in this fight. And TUP, the numbers were definitely in their favor in this. So, I like how, again, Iconic got a great taunt on. It's just that the follow-up wasn't able to be there because Berserk was out of
Berserk was not there. Blizzard had not enough mana for traps and the repositioning of the Q. So,
imagine how different that story would have been if Berserk was in that fight. A taunt follow up by a shockwave from Berserk. That would have been deadly actually for TUP. But again, the numbers advantage worked in TUP's favor. So again, it's these small build-ups that could potentially propel them to a win.
So now the gold advantage is on the TUP for almost up to, let's say, 7,000 gold lead. Make it 8,000. So, but in the long run, can TUP close this game? If UPD gets this third stack of an Inferno, this is gonna spell very good news for Berserk, Veer, and also for Blizzard.
Yeah, because if you're gonna look at it, I've been championing how TUP actually has some pretty good damage output. But that being said, a triple Inferno will actually put UPD up to par regardless of the fact that they're behind.
Baron is live, and TUP, they are sending up visions, guarding their Baron. Maybe the Baron, maybe Baron.
Tempered Fate though.
Oh, though there's the follow-up and the lockdown from Berserk with the shockwave only on to Chan. The jungler is not alive anymore. UPD has the smite advantage.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're gonna risk it.
No, not at all. But if anything, it definitely gives some breathing space for UPD Liman, knowing that with Chan down for that half a minute of death.
Oh, Lito gets assassinated by Bam.
Man, but yeah, as I was saying, it actually gives some breathing space for UP Diliman that they know that TUP won't be able to take this Baron for about a good minute or two, and at the same time, it allows UPD that room to establish some level of defensive vision, especially around the Baron area.
The death timer for Chan is actually just 3 seconds, so he will be responding. Blizzard setting up those traps, but you can see the backside and the side, Izen and Navi is making their slow approach, whereas Berserk is going to be joining in. Veer, patiently waiting to brush, tends to scare away TUP.
Oh yeah. So TUP just trying to find the right moment. Go for this Baron, especially with Chan in the vicinity. Are they going to risk it though?
Demon's played.
I mean, inhibitor is down. One inhibitor is down for UPD Diliman, so it definitely... This is where UPD's macro play will definitely be put to the test because there is a lot of things that they have to put into account. Number one, of course, the general lead that TUP has. Of course, number two, they don't want to give this Baron, but they also have to take into account the heavy minion wave pushing in towards mid. But ooh,
UPD knows that TUP is starting the Baron. TUP backs away. This is something that small mistakes, such as one member down, is huge when you're in the Baron pit.
Yeah, and looking at how cautious TUP is, even though they have a pretty good gold lead, I mean almost 7,000 to playing around 7,000 to 8,000 right now. That being said, there's still that level of respect that UPD has because they know for a fact that because of how smart UPD plays this game, the smallest mistake that TUP makes, especially around that Baron pit, which is very crucial, especially Lalo if Veer gets the steal, would be monumentally huge, and UPD would capitalize on that to the T to get back. So very good on TUP to show the restraint, but at the same time,
oh, Mise did not learn his lesson.
Nope, that was actually reminiscent of something that happened earlier.
That happened 3 times in the same spot.
Oh man, so yeah.
And he also used his flash. So Mise N with the illness of a Wanderlust does not want to give up, but it was actually also a mistake onto TUP's side. They should have joined their support when warding.
Yeah, exactly. Or if anything, because that's more of a communication thing where, oh, but hold that thought.
Veer, also same illness.
But yeah, talking about that scenario, I feel that it's more of a communication thing that if Misa N wanted to go for Vision, he should have preempted having one of the members of TUP join him. Because if that was something wherein he did himself without properly communicating it to TUP that, guys, I'm going to be establishing some vision, can somebody accompany me, then I definitely peg that on as a mistake for NECN overall.
Yeah, and the members of TUP, they all have sweeping lenses. Maybe someone should actually get a foresight, so that in the end, Mr. N will not be at risk of getting caught off guard and isolated at most of the time. So this time, we're going to be seeing UPD playing the old classic Caitlyn trap game.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're going to look at the composition that TUP has, two of the members that they cannot afford losing early on when potentially going into 5v5s is, of course, number one Chan, because of the threat of Baron potentially could be taken by UPD, which could cause a little bit of a reverse that could shift the power back into their favor. And of course, MCN as well, because this utility is so key for TUP at this point. If anything, having that tidal wave, the bubbles, even the heals to an extent could make or break the 5v5s.
Battle of the Lenses. And the 5v5s will be determined by how well they engage and clean up. For TUP, they have this front line for a city of Azarenacton, but he has the Guardian Angel, but in the end, when he does get taken down, members of TUP will just be running away from his corpse. So this leaves UPD just to clean up the job. So I hope for TUP side, they know what they're doing. Two-man tempered fade. The ball is in place, but does not channel the shockwave. As Cydia is zoning out the members of UPD. Neve cannot do much. Blizzard's very low, but Iconic will try and kill off Bam. He doesn't get down, leaving a Cydia to finish off Blizzard. That will be a double kill for the Cydia. Now TUP is on the base side of UPD. Double kill for Iconic. Does not survive long enough with 3 members down for UPD.
Oh man, TUP, quite refreshing actually to finally read that they're actually showing signs of fight. They do not want to give up just yet. They still smell the chance of potentially winning the entire term. So let's go ahead and check out what happened here. So actually a good tempered fate. It's just that UPD couldn't really do that much to capitalize on it and puts here in this awkward position wherein while the rest of UPD is actually scattering back, just kind of kiting Cydia here. Veer in exchange, he couldn't really exert maximum assassination. So I don't know, man. At this point, Iconic though really performing well on the Shen. It's just that because of the lead that TUP has right now, they're not really in a position to just really go full on head-to-head, even with the triple Inferno.
So when a fight does break out after another one, I think TUP's, let's see, I wouldn't call it room, more of a space for them to work with, is getting smaller and smaller. They don't have that much allowance to work with, knowing that UPD does have the burst. So when you look at the health of a champion, you have to, it's kind of like their timer, how much they can fight, not their survivability, but I gotta say for TUP, it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and that with all said and done, even though because UPD, I feel like they have the damage covered because of being able to acquire the triple Inferno, so that actually boosts their damage exponentially well. But that being said, they have the damage output, but whether or not they could actually survive the onslaught of damage coming from TUP themselves, like I mentioned, there's a lot of damage all across the board from top to AD carry, and plus a good setup from MCN to allow them to exert the max damage. So it's still, even though UPD has the utility to kind of counter that, because of the lead that TUP has right now, and Cydia 4-0, 3 Chan 6-2 and 6. Like across the board, the primary AD, the damage dealers for TUP are on point. Ooh, different case though.
Looking at how the map is being played out, UPD does not have much room to work with. If he gets stunned, it will be Chan finishing him off. And that's going to be 1 number down for UPD. No more game-changing mechanics there. There's the redemption and the inhibitor. Turret will be taken down. Now it's exposed. UPD can't seem to find a place to go in, but Cydia will be charging in. There is the tidal wave missing yet again. Here comes Iconic with the Stan United. Veer looking to kill off Chan, but backs away. Now 2 inhibitors are down for UPD.
Wow, 18 and 12. Gold lead. I mean, what's interesting here is that it still continues to play around the 6,000 to 8,000 gold lead. So it may seem there's still that struggle for UPD, but they're actually doing great job making sure that it doesn't really skyrocket to oblivion for them. Still, they have so many opportunities to get back into this game, and look at this. Technically, if TUP had the result to take this Baron, I feel like this game would have actually finished a little bit earlier. But then, because of the respect that knowing UPD has all the tools to get back into this game, they're really exhibiting the restraint that, surprisingly, technically, they didn't really have as much during the earlier games.
33 minutes, 34. What a long game it is, Arctic.
I mean, longer than I anticipated.
The exhaustion from the players of the best of 5 series will really test their patience and endurance. But for this game 3, possibly the last game for TUP.
And you know what's interesting here? You were talking about the endurance going into these best of 5s. If you're gonna base it on what happened during the semifinals, TUP actually looks like the team that kind of gets worn out from these best of 5s because they started off strong 2-0 and then suddenly going up against UC. Oh, we might see a fight though.
3 members setting up for a shockwave, does not connect. A flash was used. Chan repels away. Bam goes in for knee. Fear goes off the wall. Bam gets executed, but it's really Navi taking down Blizzard. Very low on health. Iconic is there for the teleport play. Fear goes in, but he gets stunned. And another burst coming in from Acidia. He's there to solo the members of UPD. That will be a shutdown. 4 members are taken down. Iconic is left alone, and Acidia will make the teleport play. Gonna clean up this mess that TUP started.
Oh man, this is potentially going to be the game. Heavy death timers for UPD, and I don't think Iconic could single-handedly, as a tanky Shen, defend this base. Wow, wow, wow. Just when we thought we might be seeing a clean sweep. Ladies and gentlemen, for their first win in the grand finals of the 2017 Lenovo Local Collegiate League, congratulations, Technological University of the Philippines.
Dragging UPD towards the grueling Game 4. Congratulations for TUP for stepping up. And now we're going to be moving on to Game 4 of the best of 5 series. The score right now stands at, I gotta say, 2-1, right?
Yeah.
So this is going to be TUP's, again, last game. So, the pressure's still there in a sense.
Definitely, but if anything, I think it gives them a bit more of a resolve that there is hope. It's just that at the same time, you gotta think of what UPD's mindset is right now. You know, they've been kind of deterred from getting that clean 3-0. So it goes both ways, wherein they could be frustrated, that could throw them out, or at the same time, it could also be that frustration that pushes them all the more harder to win games. So
Alright,
look
on
at
to the stats.
Man, Acidia. We actually haven't been able to pay as much note to Acidia earlier because he was playing it pretty low-key during the earlier phases. But if you're going to look at the CS, there was actually a lot of power farming going on for him because of getting that, again, that first turret, and then he was kind of left in a lot of moments where he is able to free farm and split push in other lanes. So it definitely manifested going into the later parts of the game. And look at the damage though across the board for everybody.
Everyone is actually dealing a lot of damage.
And
but what came into play for UPD was the pickups. They were really good with the Tempered Fate, but when Neek was taken down, the inhibitor was gone. So that just removed their ability to really stall the team fight.
And what's interesting here is that if you're going to recall, during the early phases of the game for TUP, it was actually Chan that was spearheading the team. But looking at the damage towards the end, he's actually the fourth to the lowest. So it actually goes to show that it's almost a team collaboration where somebody has to take the reins in the earlier game, allowing the members of TUP that technically shine later on during the game to do so. So I hope this is a continuing trend for TUP. But then again, of course, UPD, they are a very strong team. Both are strong. I mean, they made it to the grand finals for the reason. We'll just have to see what will happen as we head into game 4 later.
So guys, there you have it. That concludes game 3 with TUP stepping up their game, bringing UPD onto the game 4. We have been your shoutcasters. I am Vulcan, and joining with me is Arctic. You just watched the Lenovo LCL 2017 Spring Term Challenge. What you know. See you after a short break for game 4. The 2 members of TUP, UPD looking for collapse, does miss the shot with Iconic, goes in for a flash pot. Connects while Veer secures the kill. Bam is there for the kick. There goes into the lead. The dragon will be delayed by the fate, but it'll be UPD getting the smite advantage. Acidia backs away, very low on health. Now will be a tidal wave, 40 engaged. Navi's an illusion, he gets a double kill. Chance just taking a hit, Blizzard has no mana, flash in Cocoon, does not connect, but it will be Navi picking it up. Now first jerk is very low. There is the ball, but no shockwave available just yet. Iconic goes there for the taunt in onto Navi. Does not work out really well. It's going to be a double for Chan and possibly an ace for TUP. There's a caught in on the count, very low on health. Iconic gives that sweet. Oh my god, that's such a nice temper fake coming from UPD. There is the collapse. There is the punishment on the TUP for invading. Oh, it's taken up by Berserk. Blizzard's very low, no mana, no movement, and there's the call from Iconic for the protected. Blizzard's left with free and regaining some health. Here comes Spear with the Kha'Zix. Will not do much. Iconic soaks up so much damage. It would be BAM! Getting the shutdown bounty, making a double. Now Veer is going to be backing away, but still gets charmed. Very low, might be a triple, but the Maw will save his life.
Oh man, Veer, the only surviving member of
Her favorite ball is in place, but does not tackle the shockwave. Acidia is zoning out the members of UPD. Neep cannot do much. Blizzard's very low, but Iconic will try and kill off BAM. He doesn't kill out, leaving Acidia to finish off Blizzard. That will be a double kill for the Acidia. Now TUP is on the base side of UPD. Double kill for Iconic. Does not survive long enough with 3 members.
Oh, we might see a fight though.
3 members setting up for a shockwave. Does not connect. A flash was used. Shan repels away. BAM goes in for Neep. Fear goes off the wall. BAM gets executed, but it's pretty badly taking down Blizzard. Very low on health. Iconic is there for the teleport play. Here goes in, but he gets stunned. And a low burst coming in from Acidia. He's there to solo the members of UPD. That will be a shutdown. 4 members are taken down. Iconic is left alone. And Acidia will make the teleport play. Gonna clean up this message. That
10% defend this base. Wow, wow, wow. Just when we thought we might be seeing a clean sweep. Ladies and gentlemen, for their first win in the grand finals of the 2017 Lenovo Local East 8, congratulations, Technological University of the Philippines.
Dragging UPD towards the
Not enough Garena shells to buy the latest League of Legends skin? On sale now? Get shells anytime, anywhere with your Globe or Touch mobile number. Go to gamer.com.ph and sign up with your mobile number and enter the verification code you will receive via SMS. Log in and choose the game and pin you want. Check out to purchase the pin with your load or through your postpaid account and receive the pin on your phone instantly. Never miss a sale on your favorite League of Legends skins and champions with Gamer.